welcome back to the channel and to the first video of 2024, which is a list spam, but for the Bagration Axis allies, Hungarians. So just before Christmas, I got myself a big bundle of Hungarians and Romanians, and I'm slowly working my way through the Hungarians while I wait for some Romanians to come into stock. So Hungarians basically kind of like playing like the Germans with a few little bits here and there. Just feel like I added them in just to give myself a little bit of a different experience with Flames of War armies and list building, and just so it ticks another box on what I can bring to the table, so to keep my opponents guessing what they'll arrive with. So as always, I made a list with all of the formations from the book, and we will have a go at looking over the build formations at the end, but not actually building a formation. But the Hungarians are quite good. They got quite a lot of different formations, so we'll start with the Panthers. So before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to Firestorm Games. There's a link in my description. It'll take you straight through to their website. So I got the bulk of my stuff for the Hungarians and Romanians from their store, mainly because they're discounting, because they're fast and reliable and they have excellent customer service. But if Flames of War is not your thing, have a look at Bolt Action and Team Yankee as well. And by clicking my link, you'll help support me and the channel. So if you do click it, thank you very much. Okay, so first formation is a Panther Tank Company. So we have one Panther as the HQ, that's the most we can take. So it does give us a bit of a dilemma, because obviously that and another unit doesn't quite add up to 40 points, which is ideally for reserve, and that is why the Turan tanks are there, because they're bang on 11 points. So them and Panthers in reserve would be nice, starting with 4 Panthers. Unfortunately, these are not the late variety, which I'll show you in a sec, but supporting them we've got some howitzers, an OP, which is always handy, and a rifle platoon with Panzerfaust, so 7 rifle MG teams with Panzerfaust, and they are also upgraded to Pioneers, which we'll also have a look at next. So the Hungarian Panther, as you can see, it's not the late variant because it is only front armor 9. All the tactical terrain, weapons, all stuff is the same as the Germans. They are careful, they're confident with a 3+ follow me. 3+ follow me isn't that great, but I suppose if you're in a hurry, quite useful. And they're trained, so this will kind of drop them down in points, since all the Germans are veteran. Well, most of them are veteran, but the fact that they're careful, I always find is quite handy. Okay, as I said, the infantry are Pioneers, so obviously these guys can cross minefields and dig in on a 2+, which is good because the Hungarian infantry are trained. But I haven't got it with this list. I haven't got it with this formation, but you can replace a rifle team with a flamethrower team, which is always quite handy, especially if you're trying to dig out infantry out of foxholes. I know it's only 2 shots, but remember, you can have up to 2 teams replaced in this way. Okay, so now we're on to a Tiger Tank Company. So all Tigers this time. And failed to mention at the right beginning, but I try to keep this pure Hungarian with no allies, just to make it a little bit more fun. So we have a total of 7 Tiger 1s, a HQ of 1, and then 2 units of 3. So of course one of these units and the HQ can go into reserve. Again, we got the howitzers, the OP, got some scout cars this time, which will be handy, and another rifle platoon, and they're upgraded to Pioneers, and this time we have a flamethrower involved. Okay, so the Tiger tank, everything else same as your German Tiger tanks. It is careful, it is confident with a 3+ follow me and a 3+ remount, very nice, and they are trained. Please note, remember, if you're used to playing with Germans, these are German models. Don't forget that they don't have stormtroopers, so you won't be able to do your sneaky little blitz moves and your shooting scoots in the same turn, so just bear in mind. But overall, the Tiger tanks come in at 32 points for 3 or 21 points for 2. Next formation is Zirinyi Assault Gun Company. So we have a HQ of 1, and then we have a unit of 3, and then a unit of 3 StuGs, and then 5 Hetzers. Again, we've got our howitzers, our OP. This time we have some 8.8 centimeter AA guns, scout cars, a 10-man rifle platoon this time, with Panzerfausts, Panzerschrecks, and a heavy machine gun. We also have a lucky card, Assault Pioneers, and the Zirinyi HQ is upgraded to a bigger gun, so we will have a look at that. Okay, so the Zirinyi is basically a Hungarian StuG. It's careful, fearless, which is nice. It has bazooka skirts. Obviously, its counter-attack and its assault rate ain't great. It doesn't really want to be in assaults, but it is veteran. It's got a decent tactical move, a good cross rating, so it is better than a StuG. It can fire a template with a 3+ firepower. It's forward firing, remember. Machine gun's a bit slim, and on direct firing, it is only anti-tank 10 with a 24-inch range, but it is brutal, and it has heat. Remember, it's got slow firing. So as I said, fairly similar to a StuG. So I thought since the HQ is on its own, its template isn't going to be amazing. For +1 point, I changed it to a 75mm gun. So range goes up to 32 as a halted rate of fire of 2, moving 1, and it's anti-tank 11. So effectively making it a StuG. Okay, so the Assault Pioneers a bit better than the regular Pioneers, just because it obviously they still get to go into minefields and dig in on a 2+, but overall their skill becomes a 3+ now. For an extra point, it is not bad at all. Okay, so now we're on to the actual StuG in the form of the StuG Assault Gun Company. We have a HQ of 1 StuG. The Hungarians pretty much, their tanks are in 1s when they're the HQ. But then that is followed up by 9 more StuGs in 3 units of 3. Supporting them, we have the howitzers, the OP, heavy AA guns again, scout cars, 3 Hetzers, mainly just to help out with reserves, and a rifle platoon that is Assault Pioneers again, considering we have the extra points spare. And I always tend as well, the rifle platoons will always have Panzerfausts because they just need them. Okay, so the StuG is your bog standard StuG. It's careful, although they are fearless, but with a 5+ counterattack and a 4+ assault, as you'd expect. They are veteran and they have bazooka skirts. So if you don't know what bazooka skirts are, basically side armor is 5 against weapons with firepower 5+ or 6. So basically your 50 cals, bazookas, Piats, etc. Okay, so now we're on to another Hungarian tank formation, the Turan tank. So we do actually have 2 Turans in the HQ, and then we have 2 units of 3 Turans, or Turan 2s, shall I say, 3 Tigers, just to really beef up the formation, and 3 Toldi 2A light tanks. And then supporting them, of course, you've got to have the howitzers, the OP, some heavy AA guns just to help with the big tanks, a big rifle platoon of 10 with Panzerfaust and Panzerschreck, and these guys are also upgraded to Assault Pioneers with a flamethrower. Okay, so the Turan tank is pretty much fairly similar to a Panzer III, basically. Well, the Turan 2 is, so I tend to use them as Turan 2s. So it's careful, confident with a 3+ follow me and a 3+ remount, and they are trained with a front 5, side 2, and a top 1 armor. Movement wise is okay, but they have got a very good cross check on a 2+, and their gun, with the ones I've used, the 75mm, is a 24-inch range, so not a massive range. It has anti-tank 9 and a firepower 3+ and heat. So late war, showing its age, not as good, but mid-war, I can't wait to use the Turans. I've got 3 of them coming myself. I think they're next door at the moment because my neighbour's taking them in, but I can't wait to paint them up and use them because I'll be using them first of all probably with the Panthers to see how they do. Okay, so also in the formation we had the Toldi 2, or the Toldi 2A I was using it as. So careful, reluctant, with a 4+ remount and a 3+ follow me, trained with a 5+ assault rating because they're scouts. The reason I have these, they are a scout with spearhead. Now basically do count towards a tank unit in forms of armoured reserves, so only kind of important in deep reserves. The Toldi 2A is a front armor of 3, and it has an anti-tank 7 gun, so kind of essentially like your Stuart really. Well, your British Stuart really, because it's got your spearhead and your scout, so it's part of the formation and it doesn't cost too many points, so I quite like having them. Just another unit to kill basically, and you get a spearhead unit as well. Okay, another German tank formation in the form of Panzer IVs. So we have 2 Panzer IVs, so the long 7.5s, and then a unit of 4 more Panzer IVs, a unit of Panzer III 5 centimeters, and 3 Tigers. Backing them up is the howitzers, the OP scout cars, a large rifle platoon of 10 teams with Panzerfausts, and we also have the assault pioneer card as well. Okay, so the Panzer IV, pretty much the same as you get with the Germans. It's careful, confident, with a 3+ follow me and 3+ remount, so don't forget it hasn't got that 3+ last stand. It has bazooka skirts and it is trained. So basically 4 of them is 19 points and 3 is 14. So we did have some Panzer IIIs knocking about in the formation. So careful, confident, 3+ follow me, 3+ remount, and trained with bazooka skirts. Now they're only the long 5 centimeter gun. Can't upgrade them to the short 7.5, which is similar to the Turan tank. These guys are front 6 mined, but bear in mind their gun, although it is a 28-inch range, it is only anti-tank 9 and has a 4+ firepower and no heat. Next formation, we have a Hetzer assault gun company. So we have a HQ of 1 Hetzer and then 3 units of 5, giving us a grand total of 16 Hetzers. Good thing about the Hetzers are the unit costs 20 points, so 2 of them 40, bang on, love that for reserves. Supported by howitzers, an OP, heavy AA guns, scout cars, and a large rifle platoon of 10 teams with Panzerfaust, which are assault pioneers, funnily enough, with flamethrowers. Okay, so the Hetzer, same as it is with the Germans, but these guys are careful, confident, have a 5+ counterattack, and of course they're 3+ follow me. They're veteran with a 4+ assault. Remember, their cross rating ain't great, and they are overworked, and they don't exactly have a lot of machine guns, so use these guys carefully. Okay, so the last of the book formations, the rifle company. I do like rifle companies in late war. So we have a HQ of 2 SMG teams. We have 1 large rifle platoon of 10 teams with Panzerfausts, a smaller team of 7 with Panzerfausts, 4 81mm mortars and 4 120mm mortars. Now, important to remember, the Hungarian 120s can fire smoke bombardment, so very nice. We have 3 scout cars, 3 Tigers to support the infantry, 3 Panzer IIIs, so them and the Tigers can go in reserve, and 3 Zirinyi 105 assault gun platoons. So basically another template and some tanks to move up, and the assault pioneer card with 1 flamethrower upgrade, which will be going on the big unit of 10. Okay, so the rifle platoon is careful, confident with a 3+ last stand, and they are trained, and this obviously upgrade them to assault pioneers. So their rifle MG team, so halted 2, moving rate of fire 1, Panzerfaust, so limited 1. They can have a HMG, which is always quite handy to have, and they can have Panzer Shreks as well. So these guys have loads of different things to change them to, so they can have they can be border guard platoons, so basically you can give them a flamethrower for +1, or a 20mm anti-tank team for +1 point, but they can't have Panzerfaust or Panzer Shreks. Volunteer rifle platoons makes them -4 points for a big platoon, -2 for a small. So basically they become aggressive, fearless with a 4+ last stand, green, and 4+ tactics rating. You can also downgrade them for -2 points to fresh divisions, which makes them green and aggressive. And obviously the creme de la creme, a parachute company. So basically they are fearless, careful, and veteran. So now we're done with the book formations, I will be looking at the formations you can build using the cards. One of them obviously is a parachute company. which is pretty much similar to the rifle company. But here we have the assault pioneer and the pioneer, but as in form of a company. So they are quite handy. But the only thing is you are quite limited what you can take. So basically no mortars, no heavy machine guns, no scouts. They're basically just your pioneers. But overall, not too bad to have. Next two formations are for the infantry, so the border guard, so similar to the rifle company, so rifle company HQ, 2 to 3 platoons of infantry, heavy machine guns, mortars, and mountain battery. Remember, the border guards can't have Panzerfaust and Panzerschrecks, so it's up to you. You want to try them. The volunteer rifle company, similar makeup, so we have a HQ of 2 teams, 2 to 3 volunteer rifle platoons, heavy machine guns and heavy anti-tank platoon. But remember, the volunteer rifles are aggressive, fearless, with a 4+ last stand, green, and with a 4+ tactics. Okay, so next we have the motorized rifle company. So they're confident with the 3+ follow me. So they haven't got that last stand. So HQ, 2 to 3 rifle platoons. Then you can have 1 heavy machine gun platoon, light mortars, 7.5 centimeter anti-tank platoon, the anti-tank rocket platoon, which is hilarious, scout platoons, and Nimrod self-propelled AA guns. We also have a Hetzer squadron. So again, confident with a 3+ follow me. So we have a HQ of 2 teams for 2 points, 2 to 3 Hetzer troops, heavy machine guns, light mortars, light anti-tank guns, and 75mm Hetzer battery. And then lastly, we have the Scout Company. So your force includes a Scout Company, which is the formation containing 1 rifle platoon, 2 to 3 scout platoons, heavy machine guns, light mortars, 7.5 centimeter anti-tank platoon, Hetzer troop, and scout cars all in formation. Okay, so now that's all the formations out of the way, we'll have a look at some of the support units that were prolific in my lists and some other ones which I just quite like to look at. So the 100mm artillery battery, there's one slightly bigger, but I like these guys just for the cost. Being 11 points, I quite like them. So careful with a 4+ gun save, they are a big gun, confident and trained on a 4+. Probably the trained might let them down more than anything. Obviously, being a Hetzer, good range, anti-tank 3 and a firepower of 3+, so not overall that bad. But obviously, being direct firing, not that good. But if anything gets that close to your 100mm artillery batteries, you got a lot more problems than their direct fire rating. Okay, then we have the scout car, the Kasaba. Should we go with that? Yeah. So you're kind of bog standard scout unit really. So has scout, has spearhead, careful, reluctant, 6 counterattack and a 3+ follow me, trained with a 5+ assault. But you don't want to be putting them into assault, and you'd expect being reluctant for a scout car because they don't really want to be shot at. They are wheeled, so generally have a slow tactical and terrain dash, cross country of 12, and not particularly fast on the road, but you know, they scout cars, they give you a spearhead bubble and then they're done. Armament wise, only anti-tank 5, but they have a decent number of shots, halted 3, moving 2 with a firepower 5+, so essentially decent enough for digging out infantry, and if the infantry in the open, obviously you got your machine guns instead. Okay, so the heavy anti-tank aircraft platoon was used a few times using the 8.8 centimeter AA guns. So careful, confident, trained with a 4+ gun save. Large guns, remember, if you're ambushing them, they need to be 16 inches away. But basically, 40-inch range on the 8.8 centimeter AA. It's an 88 anti-tank 14, and that's the way. That's why it's in there. If it shoots at aircraft, then great. I probably might not actually hit them or shoot them down if I do, but the main thing is to deal with heavy tanks when I don't have anything higher than 80-14. Okay, so now looking at stuff I haven't used but are quite funky. So we have the Nimrod self-propelled AA platoon. So careful, confident, trained, obviously garbage counterattack, follow me is good because they're Hungarians, and a terrible assault rating. But this is just, you know, it's a self-propelled AA gun. So it's basically like both stats in terms of the gun. It's anti-tank 7, halted 3 with a movement rate of fire 2, and 4+ firepower. It is dedicated AA, so if you're playing against a friend who always uses aircraft, why not take these? So unit 2 for 4 points, so not too bad. Right, now this unit, I bought them. Whether I use them is another matter, but like quite a few things I've invested in Flames of War, they're just quite funny. So it is an anti-tank rocket platoon. It has gun shield as well, although the gun shield doesn't exactly face the way of oncoming fire, but it'll protect one of the crew members, I suppose, from a crossfire. So it is careful, confident, with a 3+ last stand, trained, and a 5+ assault rating, and a 3+ save. So the main thing is their 44M rocket launcher. So it only has a range of 12 inches, so bear in mind you can ambush this. They only have one shot, so the maximum size unit is 3, so that's 3. But it is anti-tank 14 and has a firepower of 5+ and forward firing. So combined with a rogue infantry platoon near an armoured unit, these could be quite annoying. It's also something your opponent can't really ignore. And if you stick it behind an infantry platoon holding an objective, of course, they're going to have to think of this when they assault, as well as the Panzerfaust, potentially Panzerschrecks, and other anti-tank guns they have around. Okay, so lastly, we have the Hussar troop. So cavalry. I am going to order them at some point. I'm going to have to order them direct. So well, whether they have them or not is another thing. So they're careful, confident, and believe it or not, they have a 3+ follow me. But these guys are veteran. They can have Panzerfaust as well, which is always good. Now, obviously, they are quite fast when they're on horse. They have a cross check of 2+. Their bases are massive though, so if you have a stream of them, they can take a while to come on. They also have spearhead as well. Now, bear in mind with cavalry, they have to start mounted, and then you can dismount them in your first movement step. But I quite like them now. Cavalry are +1 to hit for all shooting, but they move 6 inches when they charge into contact. They cannot hit armoured tanks in assault. They're not concealed. Basically, they can't be concealed, and friends cannot shoot over these teams when stationary and open. Cannot occupy foxholes or buildings, and Panzerfaust cannot shoot while mounted. So interesting to have. Now the Romanians can have these, so basically I'm going to go from 0 cavalry to a decent amount of cavalry. Well, at least one platoon of cavalry, let's say, but looks quite fun to use. And that is it from the Hungarians that I've noticed that I'm going to point out. So I hope you found it interesting. Obviously, a lot of you probably don't have Hungarians, but it does seem like a different way to play Germans. Remember, they can ally with the Germans, so obviously you can have your late Panthers, your Tiger IIs supporting them if you wanted to, but it just gives you access to careful, trained troops without all the 3+ last stands and the stats you don't need, although I could take and leave the 3+ follow me. And obviously their infantry has a 3+ last stand. So I hope you enjoyed. I will try to get the Romanians done soon, but we'll have a video on the upcoming Firestorm Gazala campaign next week.